So there's been a lot of rumours and speculation about a fallout between Eric Ten Hag and Raphael Varane. A lot of credible sources that leak information said their relationship is strained, and that has been confirmed by James Duck of The Telegraph today, who has confirmed the relationship with Varane and Ten Hag isn't great, and there's no guarantees that he starts later today versus Luton. But what really went down between Ten Hag and Varane? Ten Hag also spoke about this in his press conference and more. Continuing on after that, we'll talk about what Fabrizio Romano has said on the Manchester United takeover, bringing in some brilliant updates on the likes of Paul Mitchell coming in, Blanc coming in, and the latest with that. Fabrizio Romano has also spoken about the January transfer window and Manchester United's transfer plans, talking about us ideally wanting to bring in a centre-back in January. We will get into the latest on Todibo, and then some interesting news and information that's come out about Casemiro, his future, and the kind of player that he has been at United. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new and share the video. I do apologise for the lack of lives at the moment, but my throat, as you can probably tell, isn't 100% right. But James Darker has said this today. He said the relationship between Eric Ten Hag and Raphael Varane has become strained in recent weeks. There's no guarantees that Raphael Varane will start against Luton, even with Johnny Evans injured. That means Lindelof. Oh no. It was also said Eric Ten Hag and Varane had a discussion in the wake of Manchester United's 3-0 defeat to Manchester City a fortnight ago, when the manager claimed he had been dropped for tactical reasons at the time, when the defender was still said to be wrestling a fitness issue. Now, we know from Insider United and his leaks last week that after the Man City game, Varane then just kind of left training, and it wasn't because he was ill, or it wasn't because he was injured. And I think that started a lot of speculation. And we know from the Muppeteers that when Ten Hag said he dropped Varane for a tactical reason, it didn't go down well in the dressing room. So I think that Varane's a top professional, and I think that maybe the Varane situation with Ten Hag will be exaggerated. But I think there's definitely maybe a strain in Ten Hag and Varane's relationship because he did drop him for tactical reasons. And I think it's not like there's a big fight or a big argument or anything that the media will try and make out. I think it's just because Varane is so injury prone, Ten Hag's getting frustrated. And also, I think when Ten Hag says tactical reasons, I think it's just the passing angles, because Varane and Maguire don't complement each other well in terms of playing out from the back. Varane's a little bit uncomfortable, whereas Johnny Evans complements Varane better, but Varane complements Martinez better than Maguire, and centre-back's all about partnership. Because Ten Hag was actually asked about this situation in his press conference, and he said this, what I thought, which is what I thought was interesting. He was asked if there's a strained relationship with him and Varane, and he said absolutely not. As I said about it, tactical reasons is why I chose these partnerships. I think Harry and Johnny did well. And Ten Hag continues with this: I didn't play Varane for tactical reasons. He thinks that Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire is a better partnership than Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane. And that might sound a bit silly, because Varane, before he got injured, was probably our best player this season, was probably one of the best centre-backs in the league. He'd been phenomenal, but he got injured. But the way Ten Hag sees it is Johnny and Harry Maguire complement each other better. Now, in my opinion, we need to get Varane in the squad because he's a better player than Evans. Evans is injured. He's a better player than Lindelof, and he's a better player than Maguire. He's a phenomenal defender. But to an extent, I get where Ten Hag's coming from, in the sense of Martinez and Varane work really well together. Varane and Lindelof work well together. Maguire and Lindelof don't work well together, but Maguire and Evans work well together, and it is about partnerships. And Ten Hag kind of explained this and said, I think that Varane and Leach did really well. I think it was great to have a really good combination with sort of Johnny Evans and Lindelof as well. He did well with all those people, but I think they're very good combinations. I think that's Ten Hag's way of saying he doesn't think Varane and Maguire complement each other well, because they're both better on that right-hand side of the fence, whereas sort of Lindelof has the ability to play on the left a lot better than Maguire. Evans is a left, and obviously Martinez is a left. Ten Hag said last year Harry Maguire didn't play so much, so I was happy with Rafa Varane, and I was always happy with his performances, but right now Harry's playing good. There's internal competition. So I think Ten Hag is basically saying Varane and Maguire are fighting for the right centre-back spot, and then the left centre-back spot is the other centre-back. So he doesn't see Varane as a left centre-back, which from a tactical reason I kind of understand, but I think when Raphael Varane has been our best player and he has been good, we just got to find a way to make that Maguire and Varane partnership work, because they are our best two fit centre-backs at the moment, and I just don't think you can afford to drop a player like Varane. But I feel like it's to do with tactical reasons, to do with the passing angles, because we know Ten Hag's very obsessed with having sort of left-footed players on the left, right-footed players on the right, and then his wingers inverted. Now, enough of the Varane situation, because it isn't that interesting, let's be honest. I want to get into the takeover news. I want to get into the transfer news. I want to get into the other news, which is a lot more interesting. Now, Romano said this: there will be changes at Man United in the upcoming weeks. We know from reliable sources that Ratcliffe's deal is basically done and ratified and will be done in these next few weeks. And once that deal is done, major changes are going to happen, where we've sort of been linked with, of course, a lot of people coming in, like Brailsford for Brailsford coming in, but mostly Paul Mitchell and Jean-Claude Blanc, which has got fans excited. Romano said that Paul Mitchell is the favourite to become sporting director at Manchester United and is fully aware of the situation. Fabrizio Romano also said that Jean-Claude Blanc is a concrete possibility. So Fabrizio Romano is coming out and speaking about Mitchell, speaking about Blanc, which means there's a lot of credibility to those rumours. When we're first linked to Paul Mitchell and first linked to Blanc, I was like, particularly Paul Mitchell, I was like, is it just PR? Is it just PR? But the fact that Romano has spoken that we're very close to maybe Jean-Claude Blanc and Paul Mitchell, and there's a real possibility for this, says to me that Ineos actually do have plans to change the structure and put the right people in place. It wasn't PR. They are serious about this. And I think with news, that even if it's news we've heard before, when it comes from Romano, you're like, okay, good. There's a really strong possibility we're going to get Paul Mitchell. There's a really strong possibility we're going to get Blanc. That is brilliant. We've known for a while we're interested in these guys, but now Romano's saying it. There's a strong possibility it will happen. And Paul Mitchell was fantastic at Monaco, fantastic at the RB clubs, fantastic at Spurs, fantastic at Southampton. Blanc really helped Juventus when they had to get rid of a lot of high-wage players. He helped Juventus sort of rebuild, helped them with the debt and stuff, and then he went to PSG and did some great marketing stuff, and he left both those teams in a better place than when he joined them. So I think Blanc and Mitchell coming in will be good for United, because I think if you look at the recruitment, you look at how unsustainable the club is for a club that's so business-focused, business over money-focused. Some of the business decisions you make is awful. That Blanc and Mitchell will be good. Now, continuing on with the transfer front, an interesting thing that Fabrizio Romano said is that United want to sign a central defender in 2024, maybe two, including one in January, but it depends on the budget and options for the market. I think it's become very clear that Man United want two centre-backs, and I think Antonio Silva is my first choice, but I think because we want two and we're looking at budget, Antonio Silva is looking at £80 million, Todibo's looking at £40 million, and I think if we bring in Todibo as that right centre-back, particularly with maybe a Nice discount as well, that would give us the ability to sign two centre-backs, whether it's Inacio and Todibo, whether it's Todibo and someone a bit more expensive, Tapsoba, but I think we need two centre-backs because of injury records and potentially Varane leaving, potentially even one of Maguire and Lindelof leaving. So it was said by Romano that we're looking at two centre-backs, and I did a little tweet today on Todibo and what I think he'd add to United. I said, reports indicate that Todibo to United is likely, said the Musketeers, and Romano even said last week Todibo would be very keen on a move to United. So what did I say on Todibo when I did a bit of research on him? I said, right now, the 23-year-old is one of the most complete centre-backs in football. He is a top-channel defender. His strengths lie in defending wide areas, such large amounts of space, and excelling in 1v1 situations thanks to his great recovery pace. This would also allow Man United to play a higher line. So one of the things Todibo has is good athleticism. He's fast, but he's very good at defending wide areas, so we can push up the pitch and we can leave him to defend large spaces. He's also very good in those wider areas where I think we have conceded silly goals, and he's very comfortable sort of defending one-on-one and wider areas, and I think that will help Dalot push high. I think that will allow us to play a high line. I think it will allow us to do many things. I continued on about Todibo and I said he could even play right back if needed. He's not a right back, but he has the qualities to maybe fill in at right back if worst case scenario, a bit like Jurrien Timber, although Jurrien Timber I think is more naturally suited to the right back situation. Anyway, continuing on with Todibo, unlike Timber, unlike Martinez, he's tall, he's very good athletically, as we've seen with his recovery pace, but he's physically strong and he stands at 6'4", and if you look at his percentile statistics for duels won and stuff, it's very, very high. I said additionally, and most importantly, he's remarkably comfortable in possession and excels in progressing the ball, which is what Ten Hag wants from his centre-backs, and I think that's why Varane might be coming a little bit out of favour as well, and I think because of the midfield situation, we need people that can progress the ball better. Ten Hag likes centre-backs with the ability to progress the ball, and that's what Todibo does, whether it's through carrying, whether it's through breaking the lines of his passes. He has a lot of good traits. And I continued on saying, he's a player that can carry the ball out from the back, break the opposition's lines, and remain composed under pressure, which is what Ten Hag wants. Very press resistant, uses his body well, and can pass out of tight situations. When you've got Onana, when you've got Martinez, when you've got Todibo, those three that will be so comfortable on the ball will massively help Ten Hag. I said overall, Todibo's ball-playing skills, ability to defend wide areas, while adding height to the back line will make him an excellent fit for Manchester United. He'll roughly cost around 40 million, but considering how good he's been at Nice this season, that is looking like a bargain. 40 million for Todibo would then give us the funds to look elsewhere at other players and potentially bring in those two centre-backs, as Fabrizio Romano has said. I'm a massive fan of Diamonde, I'm a massive fan of Antonio Silva, but I think right now, value for money, Todibo could be that guy. Now, what's the last bit of news? I mean, there's actually quite a few bits of news today that I haven't really included in today's video from Ten Hag's press conference. He speaks about Rashford's dropping form and stuff. But I think Casemiro has been one with a big question mark around him. Dropped off in form this season, not looked at it, kind of injured, out till January, rumours of Saudi. What's the situation? And James Ducker did say this: Casemiro's reduced mobility has become a worry even before he succumbed to injury last month. We know there's been concerns around Casemiro. The United Muppeteers said that Varane, Casemiro and Amrabat could all likely leave in the summer. Ten Hag sort of looking at long-term Casemiro replacements. All of a sudden today we get linked to Andre. We've been linked to a lot of 8s, but now we're being linked to more 6s. And I don't think Andre's like a DM that can play alone, but we're looking at more defensive-minded players. And I think, there's a feeling that Amrabat might not stay. I think Amrabat needs to run the games. I think he's a good player, and I think he's better than McTominay. He's just not getting the minutes at the moment. I think Amrabat needs to run the games, but it's looking like Casemiro, Varane, Amrabat could all be out, and United will need 2 centre-backs, but they'll need a number 8, they'll need a number 6, because we're also looking to replace Eriksen in the long term. And I think there's all those kind of things at United, and for me, I think it's very obvious that long term we're probably looking at Casemiro replacement because his legs have gone a little bit. But an interesting thing that was said about Casemiro today was by Ten Hag. He was asked about leaders, and he says it's up to others to take over. Casemiro and Martinez are not here, so others have to take over. He could have referred to anyone as a leader, but he referred to Casemiro and Martinez as his leaders, and he said that they aren't here. And I think it's very obvious Martinez's presence has impacted us a lot more than you think, because he's a leader on and off the pitch, and we've heard that for a while. We know Casemiro's got leadership qualities, while Bruno is the captain. I definitely feel there's a lack of leadership qualities in Manchester United right now. Anyway, that was a summary of all the latest news, plus a bit of an in-depth analysis on Todibo. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.